Hello and welcome. Today we're going to explore an experience that can feel confusing and painful, but it's incredibly important for understanding not only trauma responses, but ourselves, our own behaviors. I'm talking about the way trauma wounds can make being loved feel threatening and even trigger dissociation or a flight response. If you've ever found yourself wanting to withdraw or shut down when you're shown genuine care and a want for connection, this video may resonate with you. I also want to say that you're not alone in feeling this way. It's actually quite common among trauma survivors to feel threatened by healthy love. Many trauma survivors find it challenging to accept healthy love and deep connection because it's unfamiliar. We don't know how to receive it, and trusting it can feel impossible. Today, I hope to help you explore the reasons behind this, providing insight into why these responses occur and how understanding them can be a step towards healing. We'll explore the impact of early trauma and how it relates to the way that we love and connect with people, and how our survival instincts can turn something as beautiful as love or authentic connection into a trigger, and most importantly, what steps you can take to begin to heal those wounds. Hi, I'm Kerri McKenna Reece. Welcome to the channel. For those of you who are just joining me, I'm a trauma recovery coach, accredited certified complex trauma instructor, and a mentor working to help those or serve those that have had a traumatic childhood, much like my own, and others wanting to make a difference. So let's start with trauma and how it affects the mind and body. Trauma isn't just a mental experience. It's held in our entire nervous system. When we've been through traumatic events, particularly in childhood, our nervous system learns to associate certain feelings or experiences like love with danger. So let's say maybe you had an unhealthy caregivers. Maybe your mom and dad weren't emotionally available for you, or shut you down, shamed you anytime you expressed emotions. It's those times that they respond to us with, get over it, suck it up, you're too sensitive. It's no big deal. Oh my gosh, you're being over dramatic. It's those responses when we were emotionally in their presence, or we went to them for love, understanding, and affection, right? That left us as children feeling unsafe. And that alone is very traumatic. Not only does it leave us feeling unsafe, but without proper care, understanding, and nurturing, it leaves our nervous system in a traumatized state where it now responds to love as if it were always a threat. Then, when we feel healthy love from someone, when we feel a connection wanting to happen, we automatically experience a rush of anxiety or even panic and the need to run, escape, or even disassociate from ourselves and our feelings. This is mentally to check out of the experience. We throw up an emotional wall to lock that person out. This is the nervous system's way of trying to protect you. But those walls were built because you were abandoned by your caregivers. So the flight response is one of the ways our body responds to perceived danger. It's a natural impulse to run or escape from what feels unsafe, what feels threatening, right? This is a normal survival response. So you're not broken. It's the brain's amazing way of protecting us during situations we perceive as dangerous. But it gets complicated because trauma blurs the lines between what is actually threatening and what isn't. When we have unhealed trauma wounds, especially from our childhood, neglect, emotional abandonment, or abuse, our nervous system, it equates love with danger. This goes back to the unhealthy love in our homes as children, when the people we've relied on for love caused harm. Our nervous system learned to associate closeness with a threat. So over time, this protective response, it became automatic. Now, it's important to understand that our nervous system developed with an unhealthy connection, with this unhealthy, unsafe love. It has learned to associate love with harm, making any kind of closeness feel like a risk. It's the example that was set for us. It's the example of love we know. So now, when we experience healthy love, our nervous system thinks we're unsafe. It's not able to distinguish between healthy and unhealthy, safe and unsafe. It immediately screams, love, connection, danger, danger, danger. It's a defense mechanism, a protective response to keep us safe, pushing love away. Let's dive deeper into this by talking about needs, because as children we have specific needs and we rely on our caregivers to meet those needs. In healthy, safe homes, caregivers not only meet the needs of the child, they nurture them, help them understand their needs and how to meet their needs, and honor those needs on their own. And this includes our needs in a relationship. This is both a relationship with others and with ourselves. It's having boundaries, such as not being yelled at, being with someone who cares about and honors our thoughts and feelings, allowing us to express ourselves. It is someone who sits with us in our sadness, takes the time to understand us, who is honest and trustworthy. It's being able to engage in genuine conversation on both sides that comforts and nurtures the soul. The other person being present when you share your thoughts and emotions and experiences. It's them hearing you, valuing you, and seeing you, not blaming you or shutting you down because it's hard or painful for them to understand. When these needs are not met in early childhood, we don't know how to meet them ourselves. We don't know how to set our own boundaries. More than that, we learned many mixed messages and lies, leaving us believing that we are unlovable or that people only love us to get something from us. If your experience of love as a child was conditional or tied up in hurtful behavior, your nervous system learned to protect you from love because love wasn't safe. It came with strings attached or it led to hurt. So today, when someone offers you a genuine love, it triggers that deep ingrained flight response, and you automatically leave or disconnect, whether physically, mentally, or emotionally, because you don't feel safe. You're scared. It comes from a very unconscious place, and that is why you don't clearly see it or have an understanding of it. And this is where disassociation comes into play. Disassociation is another protective mechanism that the mind uses when it feels overwhelmed. It's a way of escaping, not just physically, but mentally. It's our mind's way of creating distance from pain. It shields us from feeling vulnerable. In disassociation, the mind disconnects from the present moment, allowing a person to mentally check out to avoid feeling the intense emotions or stress triggered by an experience. So if you've ever found yourself pulling away from love or feeling detached from someone who you know genuinely cares about you, it could be that disassociation is stepping in to protect you from feeling vulnerable. So in essence, love feels threatening and disassociation allows you to check out of that threatening experience. Another big part of this is trust. Trauma survivors often struggle to believe that others' intentions are truly good. Even if someone shows love consistently, there may be a persistent feeling of suspicion. You might find yourself looking for flaws or expecting rejection because that's what feels familiar. And when trust has been repeatedly broken, it's understandable that it's hard to feel safe letting love in. So receiving love for many of us isn't just difficult, it's almost a foreign language. We're used to bracing ourselves for disappointment, hurt, and betrayal. So when someone loves us, it can feel unnatural or even frightening because our minds are scanning for the inevitable threat. But where does this all begin? As we talked about earlier, for many of us, it starts in childhood, in those critical developmental years when we're learning what love, trust, and connection feels like. If love was inconsistent, conditional, or paired with harm, the brain and body learn to survive by becoming hypervigilant, ready to protect us at all times. So now, as an adult, even if the love coming your way is genuine, healthy, and supportive, there can be a mismatch between what you logically know is safe and what your body feels is safe. So trauma responses, they're automatic. They happen in our subconscious below the level of thinking. That's why it can feel confusing logically. You may know that the person in front of you isn't dangerous, but your nervous system has a memory of its own and may react as if history is repeating itself in the present moment. So, what can you do about it? How can you begin to rewire those trauma responses and open yourself to love without feeling the urge to run or shut down? Acknowledge the pattern. Recognizing the flight and disassociation patterns is a huge first step. Try to notice what triggers these responses in you. And instead of feeling guilty and ashamed, see them as signs of your mind and body protecting you. It's understanding that these feelings come from your past experience. That can be a powerful way to begin reframing your responses. Acknowledge to yourself that love can be safe when it meets your needs. And this might seem like a small shift, but over time, reinforcing this message can help calm your nervous system. And when you feel yourself pulling away, try to meet that urge with compassion. Having self-compassion is huge in healing, right? Remind yourself that these patterns were developed to help you survive and that unlearning them will take time. Another key practice is grounding. Grounding exercises like deep breathing, mindfulness, and even naming objects around you can help you stay present when you feel that urge to disassociate or escape. Grounding is a way of training your nervous system to feel safe in the present moment. And I encourage you to gradually expose yourself to vulnerability. Rather than forcing yourself to be vulnerable all at once, try to ease into it. Start with small acts of trust, whether that's sharing a personal thought with a friend or allowing yourself to accept a compliment without deflecting. Vulnerability is so important. A lot of healing takes place when you allow yourself to be vulnerable around the right people. If you're struggling to receive love or find yourself disassociating when cared for, remember that healing is possible. You're not broken. Your nervous system is just trying to keep you safe based on a past experience. Learning to accept love and connection without fear is a process, and it starts with small steps. Give yourself the grace and time to relearn what love can be. With practice, patience, and perhaps some professional guidance, it's possible to rewrite those old patterns and find a path to receiving love in a way that feels safe and fulfilling. And remember, healing is a journey. If you feel triggered by love, that doesn't mean you're unable to love. It means that your body has been through some things that taught it to protect you in this way. You're simply on a path of learning new ways of feeling safe, ways that allow you to experience the love, connection, and peace that you deserve. And a helpful reminder here is that it's okay to take things slow. Healing trauma isn't about pushing yourself to feel comfortable with love overnight. It's about allowing yourself to move at a pace that feels manageable. Each time you practice grounding or bring awareness to your responses, you're helping to rewire those automatic reactions. So, in closing, remember, these responses to love are simply parts of a pattern that you have the power to change over time. With compassion for yourself and a willingness to explore your patterns and responses, you can begin to move beyond the need to disassociate or flee from love. You can learn to feel safe little by little and open yourself up to connection in a way that feels genuine and nourishing. Thanks you for joining me today and for taking a step towards better understanding yourself and your responses. Healing takes incredible courage, and by being here, you're already showing that courage. If this resonated with you, please feel free to leave a comment or share your own experiences if you're comfortable. Remember, you're not alone on your journey. And until next time, take care of yourself and be gentle with yourself.